Hello again. This is just another. I never know how to start these things. It's just another video journal. I'm just here to talk about what's been going on recently in my life. My name's Chase, by the way. Chase Turbyfill. And yeah, I'm recording this on December 19th, 2023. I'll probably upload it like pretty much right after, but I just wanted to go over a few things that's been going on with me and talk about it. Yeah, I spent a lot of time working on this in my free time. It's usually kind of become just my outlet to just be creative, especially when I'm feeling like playing Minecraft because it's a fun game. Yeah, I found a bunch of cherry blossom trees and started planting them all around here. Put a few like in my village, and I built up my village quite a bit too. Made all these like cool white buildings, like with like white concrete and like stone on the bottom. Yeah, cool cherry blossom tree. Got one on the island right here too. And I got like a little willow, I forget what it's called. I think it's a mangrove tree. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I figured out how to like fully start growing my village, and it's just like giving them food, and then they start to make little tiny villages. Yeah, nice little tree back there. Yeah, what's been going on, Chase? Well, I guess I'll start like with where I left off. Last time I recorded a video was back in May of this year. So it's been 7 months now. And that's kind of crazy to think of. Time flies. My when I started recording that, I was at the start of my research pretty much. And my summer research program that I'm a part of. I talked about how I applied for it and I got in and then things like that in like earlier videos, but yeah, that was fun. I did research the entire summer for like 10 weeks. And then figure out what I'm going to do first. Maybe I should go mining and get some materials because I'm running low on just about everything. I also went to the Nether in this game, which is like another dimension. I explored that a bit. I may go there in a minute. Let me grab some stuff to go mining. Let's see here. Get some coal. Some sticks. Okay. But yeah, the research was fun. I had a mentor for it. His name was Chris Yates. He's a cybersecurity like specialist in computer science, and he's really smart. And he'd never really done research like we were doing before, so it was like kind of a learning curve for both of us. But we made some good research. We came up with a cool idea, and yeah. So basically, we made. I think I talked about it in a previous video, but we made like 5 different TikTok accounts on the social media platform called TikTok. It's pretty popular. Maybe still pretty popular. My grandkids are watching this. But yeah, we made 5 different accounts. I think I'm gonna start digging down right here. And then we made a topic for each of those accounts, right? And then we tried to influence the algorithm to like give us that topic in particular. So like we gauged that by like watching how many videos and how many were related to the topic. So it sounds kind of complicated, but it really isn't. So like each account, right? We made 5 different ones, and then we set a topic to them. So the first topic was Christian scripture, and that one did pretty well, really, really well. And then the second one was conservative politics. Third one was liberal politics. The fourth was environmental topics, and then the fifth was cooking topics. I just wanted to do cooking topics for fun. But it started off pretty slow. I'm just gonna pretty much give the whole spiel of my research, I guess. Oh, is this an amethyst geode? That's cool. I think I found an amethyst geode. Maybe. Maybe. But yeah, sorry. We put them all together, and then like over the course of the summer, we had recorded like 10 sessions in total. And for each session, we kind of changed the variabilities of it. So like in the first session, I just recorded like that I looked up the topic for like 5 minutes, and then I scrolled through the For You page of TikTok, which is basically the algorithm recommending you stuff. I did that for like 10 minutes. I did like that and kind of changed it up. And eventually we saw that like the conservative politics one was doing way better than the liberal politics one. So we were like, why is that happening? And we were like, oh, it's probably because we're in Oklahoma, which is like a red state and would be more like conservative heavy. So we decided to change it up. And we got a VPN, which is a virtual private network. It can change your location like based on your like Wi-Fi, pretty much. It gives you a different IP address, and as soon as we changed that, the algorithm picked it up immediately and started going off of like whatever location I put it in. So yeah, it was cool. It was kind of creepy though. They're tracking your location, like seeing where you're at. So I just kind of proved that, and just how well it could pick up. Oh, found a cave. Nice. Put that down. Oh boy, this is kind of cool. Oh, I've been in here before, I think. Yeah, digged up with dirt. Let's see if we can find some good iron down here. Oh, there's some iron. But yeah, it was really fun, and yeah. And then I applied for a research conference, which I'll get into here in a little bit. But I applied to go present my research that I did at a conference called SACNAS, and that was cool. But yeah, over the summer, I talked about this girl I was dating. We were going to go see the new Spider-Man movie. Things didn't end up working out, but it's for like really personal reasons. I really liked her, and she was very sweet and kind to me. And I just felt like I didn't deserve her where I was at in my life. And I'll kind of get into that later, but yeah, she was really nice, kind, and beautiful, but I couldn't be that guy for her, not right now at least. And I want to be that person. I told her like I have to pretty much, kind of sounds dumb, but I had to work on myself because of like some real personal stuff. I'll probably keep saying that. Oh gosh, it's a lava pit. Any diamonds down there? No. But yeah, finished the research, and over the summer they put me in the apartments at my college, and it was pretty cool. And I got put with a roommate. Me and him were buddies before him. We were working at the same volunteer program called MICA, which is another big update. That community movement. It's called the MICA community movement. You can probably look it up. It's ran by one of the professors at my college, and it's probably not hard to figure out where I'm from, but if you want to look that up, it's up to you. But yeah, he started it up and then started running it, and then I started helping him out with it in the springtime. Oh, there's diamonds. and then I helped him out with it over the summer since I was up there at my college campus. I just like working on my research, so I helped him out with it. Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of spaced out right now, not gonna lie. It's been another thing I'll get into. It's just been rough recently, but I'm finding meaning in it. However hard it is, I'm keep on finding meaning in my own struggles. But anyway, it's cool because I basically got to have a place to myself. I mean, I got a room to myself. Me and my roommate had his own room, and then we just shared like a kitchen and a bathroom. So we were kind of on our own. We didn't talk to each other too much. Kind of stay out of each other's way because we're both working on research. He wasn't with the McNair program though. He was with the honors research program, so he's a bit smarter. I call the guy Batman. His name's Aiden Reed. He's a really cool guy. Me and him are best friends. There's some iron. That's weird. He's super smart. He used to be a wrestler and like an expert marksman. He used to like shoot professionally. And he's a biophysics major. He wanted to just be a physics major, but they couldn't do that because of his like they don't really provide that at my college. They just provide mainly biology, which is cool. Block that off so it doesn't come crashing down on me. Nothing up here. Okay. Yeah, he's pretty cool. But yeah, I got to cook with myself pretty much, and then I had a gym there up there at the school that I went to, and so basically I just started like doing my own thing. I started working out, eating a lot more. I started bulking up. Is what we call it now. A lot of people just call it getting big, but I started eating a lot more and working out a lot more. So I gained like I think 10 or 15 pounds, and just pretty much muscle and then some fat too, because I can't turn it all into muscle. I'm not working that hard out, but I'm working hard. But yeah, let's see where this leads. Oh, another lava pit. Yeah, I had a good time in the summer, pretty much just getting to figure out my own things. And then for the research though, like I basically had to create my own schedule, which was difficult because like I had to do it all myself. Well, I had my mentor to help me out, like setting up the schedule, but it was up to me to complete the work. He wasn't like holding my hand pretty much, which that's how it goes for every researcher. You kind of have to do it yourself. But I worked hard and I came up with some cool research, just discussing how TikTok's algorithm works and how I prove that it really does just go off your location and it uses that to recommend you things based on where you're at. So like if you're in a conservative area, it'll send you more conservative content and like try and get you to gear towards a certain community, which is, it can be good in certain circumstances, but it's almost manipulative. Or it is, yeah, I'd say it is manipulative. So I try and stay off it, but I do have my own TikTok account. And since I figured out how their algorithm works, I geared it to where it shows me pretty much just what I want to see. I made it to where it shows me like workout motivation videos, like Christian scripture videos and things like that. Because I'm a pretty big Christian, and things like that. And it occasionally gets me drawn in a bit too much, and like watching those motivational videos all the time, it can make you feel kind of sad because you're being lazy instead of just having downtime. But it's also kind of good because it keeps me in check, pushes me to go harder and work work harder on just about everything possible that I can. Awesome, more diamond. I can barely see in here. Also, I noticed that the mouse, you can also see it in the recordings. Sorry about that. I'll try and put it in the corner. There we go. There we go. Yeah. More diamonds? Yeah, more. More? Ooh, thank you. Any more? Oh, leads to another area. Cool. Stick this right here. Make 3 high. I'm gonna get lost in here. Yeah, once I kind of got off by myself during the research, I had a room to myself and I had an apartment pretty much to myself. My roommate wasn't there all the time, but we didn't really talk that much, so I just had a lot of free time. And once that started to happen, I'm gonna get a bit preachy here, not gonna lie. I started to feel like lustful temptations towards like pretty gross stuff, like porn and other things, and I kind of fell into those temptations. And I started to notice how much of an addiction it was becoming, especially when I'm hanging out with this beautiful girl. And I just I started to think in ways that I didn't feel were good for me and not very Christ-like, and so I began questioning just about everything about myself, trying to think of a way to get out of it. But the harder I tried, the harder it became to like run away from it, from these lustful temptations. And so feeling this disgust with myself, I decided to end things off with the girl in hopes that I could come back to her, the man I wanted to be, instead of this this person that I didn't like I was becoming, because I just was gross pretty much. I just felt like a creep. I felt just disgusted, especially with the way I looked at women, and it made me question a lot of things about myself. But yeah, sorry, that's kind of a hard note, but that's just how it's been. So I started. It's only going to get worse from here. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, the summer came and went, and I got the job as an RA, as I talked about previously. And so the research ended. I had to present it. That was stressful. I pulled an all-nighter like before I presented, and just writing the presentation, making it way cooler. And I came up with a really cool presentation. And I dressed up in my black and white suit and tie, and cleaned up my hair, shaved my face, and then I went to school to present. And so that was stressful, but it was fun too. Put me under the pressure, and that kind of rose to the challenge, in my opinion. Yeah, and then like towards the end of the summer, we also applied for this thing called SACNAS, which I talked about. It's like STEM. It's like national diversity in STEM is what it's like oriented towards. So like it's mainly oriented towards like Latino people and Native American people, like to recognize their worth in STEM, because it is primarily dominated by white people like me, and a large part of it's an Asian demographic. Which I'm not trying to shun anyone. I'm not trying to say it's bad that they're like that, but that's just like the demographics mainly. And so the SACNAS conference is made to like promote Native Americans and Latino people in science, basically. And so I luckily got to go. I applied for the research conference, and I got to go do my poster presentation there, which is basically like I set up like my poster, which they printed out for me on a blanket, which is cool. So I could just like throw it in my carry-on on a plane. And then I like pinned it up on a board, like with a bunch of other poster presenters around me. It's like these big, long, like just basically board corridors, and we just got to set up our stuff and then like talk to people that came by. And I was really selling it. I was like having a lot of people come by and then just presenting to them. But yeah, I applied for it and then I got in, which I was super stoked for. I didn't get the travel scholarship, but luckily the McNair program pays for it all if you don't get it. If you get to present, they'll pay for you to go. So yeah, that came around in October, but yeah, I'll get to that. I'm just kind of jumping around a bit, sorry. Yeah, I applied for the Sackness thing, and then like probably a week afterwards, I got to move into my dorm room in the all boys dorm at my college, because that's where I wanted to be an RA at. And I got to move in there, and then like I think like 2 or 3 days later is when my RA training started. Am I going the right way? I don't think I went down here. Be careful. I'm definitely gonna get lost. No, I'm not. I see it. Okay, cool. And then RA training started, and man, this is gonna be like kind of the build-up, I guess, of me kind of messing stuff up. But I started, and then like all the different RAs, the girl RAs, the boy RAs, we all got put together into training. And the girl that I talked about in my first episode here that made my heart start pumping a lot, and then she ghosted me after a bit, which hurt, but I've kind of gotten over it. But that girl, like, we were just kind of awkward towards each other. We didn't really talk, and I continued to think about her throughout this, and I was starting to win against my temptations of lust. Like I separated myself from any girls in my life just to focus on turning away from lust. And so I basically separated myself from this, and then RA training started, and they put me in the chair right next to this girl that I had that awkward history with. We went on like a little coffee date, which wasn't even really serious at all, but that girl, every time I stared at her, it's just one of them things. Now my buddy Aiden just texted me. He's asking me how I'm doing. I'll get to him later. And so this is gonna get me in my emotions again, but put me right next to her, and it was kind of awkward, but we worked together on some stuff, and it was chill. And we started to like kind of talk to each other again, and it wasn't anything; it was purely platonic. And I was really trying to like turn away from her. I was thinking this was God testing me, which I realize now I think it is. And so we get through RA training. We went to this thing called Leader Retreat, which is all the like leaders on campus, like the people who run the incoming students and like things like that. They just help out, but we all go to this one thing called Leader Retreat, and we just have a bunch of fun doing a bunch of camp games and like cooking out, eating s'mores. Like it's really fun, like kayaking around. And I was hanging out with that girl pretty much the entire time. But we got put in separate groups, and I got put with this other girl whose name was Raquel. She's pretty cool. And we worked together, and like we were hanging out with that one chick that I had history with a lot. And so we kind of became friends, and then the semester started, and I started like 2 computer science classes, my calculus class, and then a Foundations of Christian Belief class, which all of them were probably the hardest classes I've ever taken. And it was tough, but I came into it pretty strong, I feel, and then I started hanging out with the girl I had that awkward history with. We talked to each other quite a bit. She started hanging out with my friend John, and John's sister also goes there, and she was best friends with that girl. And so we just became pretty close, and she was going through some struggles her ex-boyfriend had broken up with her, and then she started dating her. I probably shouldn't get too much into her drama, but she started dating her roommate, and so like she was just like kind of distraught from that, I bet, because I mean having someone like betray you and then start dating your roommate kind of will mess you up. And so like her and her roommate like split up, made her boss made sure that she was put in a different room from her, and I was just trying to be there for her and be a friend. But as I did over this semester, uh, I just started to develop those feelings again because she liked hanging out with me a lot, and I enjoyed her company. She was super beautiful and things like that, and so I started to develop more feelings towards her, and eventually got to a point where it was tearing me up inside to not tell her how I feel about her, especially when she started like hanging out with me whenever I was on duty at the front desk of my dorm, and then I was hanging out with her more often than she was hanging out with me, and she seemed to enjoy my company, and so like these just thoughts sort of started to spiral into that she likes me, and then of course I have a lot of friends around campus, and they're always asking me like, when are you gonna ask her out? Like she seems kind of into you, and then I get these other questions like, are you and her together? And I go like, nah, we're just friends, and it just started to make me feel lonely too. Of course, this is none of her fault at all. She's a very uh, kind person, a bit sarcastic in a brutal way almost, but she has a kind heart, and I think she was just wanting to be friends from the start. And so I started to develop these feelings towards her, and then I eventually just wrote them all down in a letter, and I gave it to her in like November. And then that night, she she texted me this big old message just telling me about how like she only saw me as a friend and this and that, and it kind of it shook me up pretty bad because I mean I've been thinking about this girl pretty much since freshman year, and I just thought she was like the one, and so I was really sad, really really sad. I began first off, I just went on a run because that's usually what I do to just clear my mind. I went on a run for like 2 hours, which made me feel good, and then I went back to my dorm room and I just basically started crying, and I was just yelling at God like why'd you do this to me? Like are you just trying to torment me? Because like I've been lonely for so long, and I thought since I was fighting my temptations, God was providing me with a gift, but man, I was wrong. I was really wrong. I was wrong to even think that, because this girl who I really enjoyed her company with and thought she was beautiful came to me in her time of need, and I turned that into something that it shouldn't have been. And it took me a while to realize that, but that's just the case of it. And I kind of just destroyed our friendship, and it made me feel really sad, but it also felt good in a way because I was honest. I told her everything I liked about her and just how she made me feel, and it just felt good getting that off my chest. But I feel like I hurt her pretty bad, and I've just it was a lot of mixed emotions, I guess. But yeah, after that, I kind of stopped hanging out with her, and I started hanging out with other friends, and that was different. It was hard to like kind of change friend groups, especially when I got so close to them. But I just kind of jumped for this girl and I was rejected, which is fine. Again, it's fine. It's not okay to be with someone who doesn't want to be with you. But I just took a lot out of me, I guess. Yeah, I spent the rest of this semester just kind of like by myself, and then like I eventually hung out with quite a few friends, and I was bitter about her quite a bit because I think I need to take this away. Because I mean I liked her so much, and then she rejected me, and I was bitter for a little bit, but I've kind of come to the realization it was not good what I did. But I'm still kind of working my way through it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna try and pretend like I have all the answers because I don't. I just know what I know. I'm trying to uh, be, I don't know, wise and humble about it because it was a tight situation. Yeah, I started hanging out with other friends. I kind of stopped hanging out with my D&D group that I met up with like every Friday since my senior year of high school, which kind of sucked because it seemed like, I don't know, they're good people, but they just don't seem to care about the same things that I care about. Most of them just have like day jobs. They don't go to college or anything. My one buddy, Gabe, he went to the Navy. Which that was cool, but he had to leave as well. And he was, I don't know, he was a guy that I could turn to in my darkest moments, and it kind of sucked seeing him leave. But he's coming back this Christmas break, and since I basically told them like, hey, like I can't really hang out anymore. I have too much stuff going on with school, and then I have like my other friends up here that I want to hang out with. Or I didn't tell them that, but I just told them like I'm too busy with school. I didn't want to be mean, and so I stopped hanging out with them and started focusing on this group. And then of course I get rejected by this girl who's like a pretty key part of this group, and I stopped hanging out with them as well. So I don't know. I've just been in kind of a lonely time in my life, but I've also become a leader on my campus. I'm an RA, which means I'm a resident advisor, and basically I'm in charge of like 20 or so guys that are my residents, and so I have to focus on keeping them good and in check. And and then I'm also just kind of a common face around campus. Everyone sees me all the time, and they like to say hi, have conversations with me, which I enjoy, but like it just took a lot out of me because I was going through all this stuff with this girl who I really liked, and she rejected me. And so I don't know. This semester has just been lonely in a different way that I haven't experienced before. Because I'm not lonely per se, but I'm lonely in my heart, I guess. And I'm been trying to fill that with my with my faith, but it's so hard. It's really hard. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I've been kind of becoming a leader on the campus. I formed an accountability partner with my buddy Joshua Mora. He's a pastoral ministry major and he's a senior this year. But we became really good friends in our group at Lead Retreat, and we like had to put on a skit together, and like it was this fun thing, and like basically I was like complaining to him, and he was like the Reverend Joshua or something like that, or Reverend Snoo. I think that's what we called him. And he goes, "My child," and then he like slaps me in the face during our skit, and it was funny. But yeah, we became really good friends, and then after that, we started meeting every Tuesday, like in the afternoon, to like just talk about life and talk about things. And I was basically telling him all this, what I'm telling you right now, during whenever it was developing, and he was just being a really solid guy for me, and I was trying to be a really solid guy for him because he's a dude. He's a good dude. And but yeah, I started hanging out with him, and then he wanted to start a small group called Bromans, and he wanted it to be a men's study over the book of Romans in the New Testament of the Bible. Hence the bro and Romans, Bromans. But yeah, he wanted me to help lead it with him because he thought I'd be good for it. And so we got a book. It was like a 12-week study over Romans, and we started reading it together and like started contemplating it during our meetings. And then our Thursday was like chapel small groups. So like the college puts up small groups for us to go to, and then like some students can put on their own, or it can be like faculty members. Like my boss, who's like the resident director, he put on a small group, but I decided to put on one with my buddy Josh. And so we put a lot of work into it, and then we had a lot of guys come into it, which is really fun, and just sharing their own thoughts, talking about things. And we basically just like let them have an open floor, which was difficult because I wanted to share my own thoughts, but I also had to like realize like I'm being a leader here. I have to let them speak it for themselves. So it's kind of a pride check thing, I guess. But it was really fun. It made me feel good. And then also during this semester, my buddies wanted me to start a club, the Dungeons and Dragons club there, which is another reason why I left my D&D group, because I didn't have enough time for them and the D&D club. And so me and this one guy, his name's Daniel, he is also a computer science major. We set it up together, and we promoted it, and we got it like approved by like our like campus pastor, because like D&D and Christianity are kind of at odds with each other, or they've been, because people said it was like devil worship for the longest time, and I didn't want anything to do with that. I just wanted to have fun and like create a world where people can play characters in and not be anything evil. So that's pretty much what I did. And so I got approved by the campus pastor, and he's pretty chill about it. And so we put together the group, and then I told him like basically like I'm just gonna set up a time, and I'm gonna rent out like a library room. If you can come, just like the message and tell me you can be there. If not, it's totally chill. Like we're all busy college students, it's no biggie. But I'm just gonna try and set up times, and like feel free to set up your own D&D games. And I was the only one who set up an actual D&D game, because a lot of them are like freshmen and sophomores, so I wasn't expecting them to actually be able to do that with their time schedule. But I got one set up like during November, and I led it, and I put on a good game for them. They had a lot of fun. I brought some snacks and things like that. I also had to lead like the first D&D club meeting, and I bought like some fruit snacks and Capri Suns for them, which was funny. And but yeah, like I had like 20 or so people join. It was sick. But like for the game that I ran, only like 6 people were able to show up, which is fine. I told them like it's totally chill if you can't make it. A lot of them were sad that they couldn't make it. But yeah, I have a thing up here. I do. Haha. But yeah, that was cool. So that's another thing like I've been kind of being a leader about, I guess. And then I've been consistently showing up to all the like to every single like Micah community movement thing that we put on during the summer, or like during this year pretty much. And so I help out with that. We load stuff up in my truck, and then we head down to the city center, or Central City is what he calls it. It's basically the center where the homeless like kind of patrol around. Like there's like the night shelter, then there's like a day shelter and things like that, to keep people like off the streets and things like that. So yeah, Got a bunch of iron and a few diamonds. I can make a full set of diamond gear. Anyway, I was helping out with that a lot, and the leader of it, Prof. Doug, he was my philosophy and ethics professor last year. So I had him the entirety of my sophomore year, and that was cool. And so he just started noticing me showing up like consistently. I was the only one there that was there like every time. And so we started talking more and hanging out more. And he became kind of accustomed to me. And so he asked me if I could help him out one day and like go check out a homeless campsite. And he said he just needed someone to come with him. He promised his wife he would bring someone with him. I was like, yeah, sure, I can go with you. He's like, I'll buy you breakfast. I was like, all right, sounds good. And so that's what we did. We went to this homeless campsite, and then he brought me to Jimmy's Egg, and then we sat down, had a good breakfast, talked about life. I mean, he's a philosophy professor, so he's pretty good about that. And we talked about a lot of stuff, and it made me feel really good because I don't know. I talked to him about my grandpa passing away and how like that's kind of affected me, and I don't know. He's kind of been like a sub-in grandpa. He's just a wealth of wisdom, I suppose. But not saying he could ever replace my grandpa, but he's just a good guy. And so I helped him out, and then another time we just went out for breakfast and talked about like the leadership of Micah and how he wants to develop it. And so I went with him again, and then he told me basically he wants me to be one of the student leaders of it. I was like, okay, yeah, sure. He's like, and he wants me to be on the board of directors on it. I was like, oh wow, really? He's like, yeah, I want you to be there. So okay, thank you. So I told him I'd like to apply for it whenever they meet in January. And so yeah, and then he told me and this one other girl, her name's Bethany, which me and her are best friends. And she's in my calculus class, and she's been helping me out with calculus, basically tutoring me. I wonder what I'm gonna do next. I guess I can start working on building up the wall. The wall. Okay. Yeah, and he told me that me and her were gonna be like the hand-picked students that he was for sure gonna sign on, but he needed to have 4 more, and he wanted us to vote on it. I was like, okay, yeah, you can. I'd say do it like a vote for everyone to like kind of get into. He goes, okay. Like I could just be, diplomatic, or it was. He's like supreme rule over it and just like pick them myself, or I could like have him vote. I was like, I'd say vote for it. Like makes everyone feel kind of included. He's like, yeah, okay. And so that's what we did. And they picked like 4 really good guys. My buddy Aiden being one of them. How long have we been going now? I don't know. I'm still talking. I don't know. There's been some good and bad things that happened this semester, I suppose, but it's been a lot of bad. But this is kind of the good stuff because, I don't know, being a leader around my campus has made me feel like, I don't know, grown up, I suppose. Yeah, I started helping out more and more often. But yeah, and then some other stuff went down. I had that heartbreak pretty much, and then I wanted to go home just to get away from the campus because I've been up there pretty much the entire semester. I only gone home like once, and so I wanted to go home again just to be away for a minute because I was really sad. And on my way home for the weekend, I asked my boss if I could head home. He said, yeah, sure. And I told him about everything that was going down, like with me and that girl. And he was really reciprocal. He's a cool guy, my boss. And he just gave me some good advice and like kind of put everything together for me. But I started driving home, and I was outside of the Riverwind Casino, which I knew it was a bad spot, and I knew I shouldn't have been there. But like I missed my exit, so I had to drive past there on my way to like I-35. And I was right outside the casino, and then like there's like 3 or 4 red lights in that entire like stopping point. Nice bunch of coal. And like it one of the lights turned red, so like all traffic stopped, and I had to stop fairly abruptly, but I stopped, and I had like probably 5 or 6 feet in between me and the car in the front of me. And then I stop, and I instinctively look behind me to make sure there's no one's gonna rear end me. And then I just see this minivan who blared through the red light and was trying to like get in front of everyone, and they didn't stop in time, and they rear ended me pretty bad. And it hit me. I saw it coming though. I looked in my rear view and I saw it coming, so I held on my brakes and I tucked my head, which is what you're supposed to do, or like just tuck your head whenever you know you're gonna get like go off the road or get hurt, so you don't break anything, or do your best not to hurt anything. And so I tucked my head, and then the lady hit me and it sent me into the person in front of me, and that was rough, but I was fine. I pulled off on the side of the road with the rest of them, and then I go, like I get out of the car and I go like, hey, are you okay? And then she was shaking up, the person who hit me, I mean, it's like, are you okay? Like I gave her a thumbs up and like kind of mouthed it out, and then she just kind of shook her head, like all shaken up. And it was a lady too. It was probably a lady in her 40s. I think she was like 40 or something like that. And we get out, and her car is messed up. Like it broke her radiator and stuff like that. And then I look at the back of my truck, and it was the two, what was it? The two license plate lights? Yeah, they were like pushed in. They were pushed in. One was broken completely, and then like a piece of my tail light was broken, and then the rest of the damage was in the back bumper. There's a big old dent in it, and that sucks. But everything else was fine pretty much about it. I was just afraid the bumper was gonna fall off at some point. And so I checked with the lady in front of me, and she was fine. She got out, and like I only scratched up the back of her car a little bit. The front of my bumper was pretty scratched up though. The paint on it was already kind of chipping off, so it just scraped off a lot of paint. So now it's just black pretty much. And so I talked to them, and the lady gave us her insurance, and we got the police down there. And the lady in front of me that I got ran into, or that I was pushed into, she told me like, hey, whenever the police gets here, let's make them write a report, okay? So we have like the full story, because this isn't your fault. It's not my fault. And I want to make sure we have it in writing that she says that. I was like, okay, cool. And so we get the police get there, and we go like, hey, can you write this down? What all went down? And he's like, okay, it's gonna be a while. Like it's gonna take a while. And he's like, are you sure? This might take like 30 or so minutes. I was like, yes, please. And so the lady said that as well. He's like, okay. He just seemed like he didn't want to do his job, which is kind of lame. And so, yeah. But we got him to write it all down. He took all our driver's license and insurance, and I was trying to be courteous and nice to him, but I was like, yeah, just please write it down so no one's changing the story at all. And he wrote that like I got rear-ended and sent me to the person in front of me, pretty much. And then we got the lady's insurance, and she was very reciprocal, seemed very nice about it. And she was like, I'm very sorry, like this is my first time in an accident, all that. And so, yeah, we got our insurance, and then we got a claim on it, and then yeah. But after a few weeks of stuff going down, because this is like prime time. It's like right before, like it was right before, what was it called? Yeah, Thanksgiving break. And so right after Thanksgiving break is dead week, and then it's finals week. And so it's just like it's heavy school stuff. Like you're just going through it pretty much. And especially with these classes I was taking, I was like, gosh, dang. And it was just a lot of stress added on to my plate that I didn't really want. But yeah, the lady, I guess, that ran into me tried to change the story up, say like that she got rear-ended and it was a hit and run, and that it wasn't her fault. But luckily, we got the police report and everything was all right. I think that was just the part where God was like kind of with me, because that lady would have changed the story up. I would have had to pay for it myself, and that would have been lame because it was not my fault. And yeah. Yeah, that sucked. I got rejected, and then I got rear-ended, and then like few weeks, like I think a week or so afterwards, I met up with my professor again, and told him all this was going down, and then like how I got rejected and all that, and he's like, "Well, Chase, it sounds like you got rejected, and you're kind of you feel rejected." And I was like, "Yeah, pretty much." Thanks, Prof. Doug. And he goes, "It's okay. Like stuff like this happens. It's gonna happen again in life." I was like, "Oh, thanks." And just kind of reassured me a bit. Oh gosh, let me do that. Anyway, yeah, I think I have more cobblestone. Where are you at? Yeah, I went home. My mom and dad took me out for dinner. We met my brother at like a Mexican restaurant called Ted's, and I really like that place. It's probably like my favorite Mexican place. And they just kind of like sat me down and just kind of tried to cheer me up because I was telling them about all the stuff that's been going down. I try and be as open and honest with my parents as I possibly can. I find that's the best policy for life. Because if your most loved ones don't really know what's going on in your life, like how can they be there for you, especially since they're the ones that are supposed to be the closest. But anyway, I told them about everything that's going down. Same with my brother. I told him everything, and it was good talking to them. It was good to get away for a minute, you know. Yeah, I went through dead week and finals, and I came out on top. You know, that's about all I can say. I didn't do as well as I did the previous fall semester, although I would have liked to do way better. It's kind of weird to think I've had this world for about 2.5 years now, but you know, whatever. Or for almost 2 years. I think it's almost been 2 years. Yeah, I finished with I only took 4 classes because like one of them was like 4 hours, so it was like I think it was like 14 credit hours, which is fine. I just wanted to focus on my computer science and math stuff because math is a big part of computer science, and I wanted to do good in that class. And I tried my best, but I got a C in that class. I got 1 C and then 3 Bs. So not my proudest semester, but you know, it's not the end of the world. Yeah, I finished, and then I got to go home about a week and a half ago. I had to check everyone out of their rooms. A lot of people were leaving at the end of the semester. They had to leave their dorms and things like that, so I had to check them out. Some people were leaving for good, and yeah, that was chill. My boss was very chill about everything, and it went off without a hitch. You get some iron going. You got more sticks, please. Get some more sticks. Yeah. That was chill. Let's see here. Where's my stuff? Melons. Put these melons away. Yeah, and then yeah, leading that small group though, Bromans, was interesting because like I never been one to like kind of stand out in the crowd, and I was a leader of this small group, and there's probably about like 10 to 15 guys coming at a time, and they're all just kind of like leaning on me and my buddy Josh, which my buddy Josh had done it before, so he was kind of very helpful in it. But I don't know. Like at times I felt really good, at times I felt really bad, which I guess are just normal. And so that was interesting. It was fun too. It made me feel like I grew a bit. Yeah. And then there's another thing too. There's this young girl. I won't say her name, but she she was a freshman there, and she basically came here and she had a lot of problems like with her mental health, and she was very depressed, and she had started cutting herself. And then at one point she was pretty heavily involved with my group, and so she's pretty much around me and my other friends all the time. And so I don't know. I took a liking to her. She's a cool gal, but I'm not like interested in her like that because I don't really date people who are like 2 or so years younger or older than me. I think that's a pretty solid rule, but I don't know. I just feel kind of weird being a junior and dating a freshman. Of course, for some people it doesn't matter; they don't care. But I don't know. It just feels a bit weird for me. But anyway, I started hanging out with her, or I wasn't hanging out with her. She was hanging out with our friend group, and we were kind of just getting to know each other. And she, one night after we were hanging out, she went on a walk, and she didn't come back to her dorm, and her roommate started freaking out. And then her and my friend Bethany went and got her. Like they used their track phone app or whatever, and they went and found her on the side of the road. She was like thinking about killing herself. I imagine she just wanted to jump from a car or something on the highway. And that was pretty heavy. And my friend Bethany didn't know what to do about it because I mean, my friend Bethany's pretty. I mean, she's like, I think she's 19, so she's around my age, but she didn't know what to do. And I've dealt with situations like this before, not with any girls, but with guys. And I told her basically like, I mean, she's from California, she's far from home. We need to make sure we have a community around her, like to, make her feel at home here, because I mean, we can't let her kill herself. And so I told her that, and we like kind of like just made it a point to hang out with her and like kind of just have fun. We didn't try and point it out to her. We let her come clean in her own ways, and that's what I think is the best way of dealing with stuff like that. Just to be there for people, like even when they don't want you to, or even if they don't want to talk, you just have to be there. And so I basically told him that, and we did that. The next day, we took him out to church, like me, my friend, that one girl, Julia, which is the girl that I have awkward history with. We went to church together, and then they all joined us. Her roommate, and then my friend Bethany. They all came to church, and then we all went to breakfast afterwards, and she seemed to have a better time. And then that girl, she had also started going to a small group that I was a part of. It was put on by an old professor of mine, or not. She's not old. She's a very young professor, but I had her my freshman year, and I started driving her to it and like just letting her talk to me. And she kind of came out about like all the stuff that she was going through and how lonely she was feeling. And so like that just it kind of weighed on me a lot bit. I'm not gonna lie, because she was, I don't know, she's a beautiful girl, and she's very young, and I can tell she's really smart too. She just doesn't put in the work. And so like a lot of her stress was coming from not putting in the work with her classes and things like that. But whenever she like kind of sat down, she eventually was able to get to it. She's kind of like me in a way, because I procrastinate like no one's business. But yeah, I I'm kind of jumping around the semester a lot because like this kind of took course over the entire thing. There's a lot. But yeah, I it kind of weighed on me a bit because seeing someone like that who just seems so bright and positive wanting to kill themselves, it just made me mad at her almost. But I was just there for her, you know. And then towards the end of the semester, though, I did some things I kind of regretted. It was with this Bethany girl. We were working on calculus and stuff together, like during like dead week and things like that. And this girl Anna, I probably shouldn't have said her name, but it's fine. She started freaking out about her classes and how everything was just kind of crashing down around her. And I like did my best to calm her down, but I wanted to be there and like kind of be her reality check. Like, hey, like she was kind of behind on a few papers and like on a bunch of other stuff too. But it was nothing that she couldn't get done in like in a steady afternoon. And so basically, I was kind of rough in the way I said it, I guess. But this is what set me in check with whenever I messed up with my classes one time, my senior year, like whenever I was in concurrent classes. I had a mentor, my college counselor, kind of like slapped me on the back of my head and tell me to get to work. And so basically that helped me out a lot. Of course, I'm a guy. She's not a girl, or I'm not a girl. And so I kind of like had that mentality going into it. I didn't hit her or anything, trust me. But I was just like, hey, you messed up. It's okay. We all mess up. Like, just, you know, you gotta pick it up and get moving forward, okay? Because we're almost done. Everyone kind of feels this way. But once you get through it, you'll feel way better. And like I was kind of emphasizing like, hey, you messed up. It's okay to admit it. And she was just kind of being wary about it, I guess. But we were close enough friends that I figured she knew that I was just meaning it in a caring way. But my friend Bethany took some serious offense to it and said I was being too rude to her, and she like pulled me outside and kind of went off on me. And it made me really sad because Bethany, she's a really solid girl, but I guess she didn't see it the way I saw it. And I asked her, I told her like, hey, like I'm sorry, like I didn't want it to come across that way. And so we went back in there and I told her like, hey, I'm sorry, dude. Like I don't want to be too rough on you. This is what happened to me. I told her about like how I messed up with my concurrent classes and all that, and how I want someone stable in my life to like kind of, you know, smack me on the back of my head and tell me like, hey, it's okay. Just gotta get up and get going. Like get your crap together, you know. And she goes, no, I didn't interpret it like that at all. And so then that made me kind of feel bad about my friend Bethany, because she was my friend and I thought she kind of knew me, but I guess she didn't interpret my philosophy the way I wanted it to be interpreted. And so I don't know, things were kind of awkward in between me and that girl Bethany. And then yeah, but after that girl Anna kind of picked up her stuff and then she got going and she did good with her finals from what I could tell. And I told her basically like, hey, like it's not the end of the world if you mess up this semester. It's your freshman year. Like, you know, worst comes to worst, you'll get put on academic probation, then you'll have to make it up next semester. And you will for sure make it up next semester. She goes, right. I was like, okay. So, like, basically I just told her that, like, it's not the end of the world. And it seemed to calm her down. She got through finals week with ease from what I could tell. And so, yeah. But then finals came and went, and I was there on like the last week of finals, and I I was trying to study for stuff, and then one of my residents kept coming into my room and like kind of messing with me and just being annoying, like farting in my room and then running away. And I was kind of venting, complaining about it. I enjoy the guy, my resident. He's just a bit annoying, okay? Just a little bit out there at times, which is fine. But I was just kind of venting about it, just telling everyone how silly he was. Just calling him an idiot, pretty much. Which I might have been going too hard, I'm not gonna lie. Because my friend Bethany, she called me out on it again and was like, "You need to chill out, alright?" Like, quit going off on him. On that, just she said that in front of the entire group, and it just made me feel really like vulnerable. Like I just got called out, and I thought what I was venting to them about was okay, but she got kind of upset at me, and so I was. And at this point, I've been rejected, and I was pretty vulnerable, so I just kind of went off by myself. And of course, she started texting me, and I was like, well, like, do I even need to be around you anymore, or this girl? And it made me question a lot of stuff that I had done, because I try and be this accountable person, this person that's a leader around campus, and I try and give advice where I think I can help. But and then this girl, Bethany, who I really really trust, and I think I think the world of her. She's pretty awesome. I mean, I'd marry her if you let me. She's pretty great, and she basically told me to shut up. You're being dumb, or you're being rude, or you're being unkind. She'd done that twice now, and it just made me feel like a complete idiot. And I told her that pretty much, and she went off. I was like, I don't know, maybe I just need some time to myself. And then Christmas break started, and that's pretty much where I've been at. I've been rethinking a lot of this semester, trying to figure out how I can be a better person, because I don't want to just sit in my weakness. I don't want to just sit here and feeling bad and sorry for myself. I want to be better. But it's hard kind of coming to that reality, because I want to be this better person, but turning away from negative thoughts and things like she called me out on has been pretty difficult to get over, especially with my own pride. And then this break, I've pretty much fallen completely back into temptation. I've filled my life with distractions, and I started watching porn again and things like that, and it's very gross and nasty, and I started to feel disgusted about myself again recently, like pretty much yesterday and the day before that. And I was like, I got to turn away from this. And so I was like, man, I got to get back. And so like about a week ago, I texted that one girl that I kind of had awkward history with, and she rejected me. Her name's Julia. I texted her and like I was like, hey, like if it's chill with you, I'd like to start hanging out again. Of course, she's in Oregon right now, but I told her like I just kind of want to patch things over, and she goes, yeah, I'd love to, like, and stuff like that. She was very reciprocal, and so I feel like that was the right move, because we had such like good friends together, and like we just had good chemistry. And so I felt pretty guilty about that, but I talked to her and I was like, hey, let's get back to hanging out together. And me and her's birthday is pretty close, so she wanted to do like a together birthday, which she suggested, and I was pretty pumped about that. And so we started talking about that again. So it's been good. But yeah, the whole temptation thing, I'm just trying to turn away from it. And to get back to the basics, I basically turned off my phone, started walking away from things like that yesterday. I went and worked out on Sunday. Today's Tuesday. I'm going to work out again later tonight. And I just wanted to get back to the basics and give a life update, I guess. But yeah, that's pretty much everything that's been going on. I mean, I've made good friends this semester too. My buddy David, and I've gotten really close with my buddy Aiden Reed, who I'm gonna respond to right after this. Yeah, uh, that's pretty much all of it: the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah, this is this is just what's been going on. Yeah, I guess I'll catch you later. I'll probably try and do another video like this sometime in the future, maybe during spring break or maybe during the summer. Right now, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to be doing this summer, either finding an internship or finding another research program I can do over the summer. So maybe I can present again. So I have to apply to like different colleges and things like that for their summer programs. But yeah, just gonna be focusing on that over the break because their due dates are coming up uh, pretty soon. Yeah. Anyway, God bless you, and